Post-game here in Cobourg, Toronto Marlies 2-1 over the Hamilton Bulldogs. Here with Derek Wills. As always, going to get your thoughts on that game. Kind of similar to what we saw last night, a slower start for the Hamilton Bulldogs. Despite playing well at times, it was a slow start and they just couldn't seem to catch back up.
Yeah, not a great first period for Dustin Tokarski, who let a couple of soft goals in and got a little lucky to get out of the first period, only giving up two. They had two goal posts as well, but the Hamilton Bulldogs bounced back in the second and third periods, generated some more scoring opportunities, finally got a power play goal from Patrick Holland, who was playing the point, got a good shot through to the net and past the goaltender as well. That made it a 2-1 game, but unfortunately they couldn't complete the comeback, but another spirited affair, and guys are battling for roster spots, and we're seeing a lot of intensity in practices and scrimmages and in these two preseason games to start as well, and I expect that'll continue.
You had mentioned to me during the game you're pleased with the play of Drew Schistel, and he did get an assist tonight. Yeah,
the Hamilton native really has been hampered by injuries throughout his professional career. If he can stay healthy, he could be a really big addition for the Bulldogs, bring some experience, and he's got a pretty good toolbox. He can skate, he can move the puck, make that good first pass, and he's showing that in the preseason. And like I said, his biggest Achilles heel so far has been health. He's been really troubled with staying healthy, and he got hurt in a game against the Hamilton Bulldogs last year, as a matter of fact, when he was playing for the Rochester Americans. So our fingers are crossed for the Hamilton native, because he certainly can help the Bulldogs in that blue line.
And as always, between rivalries, something we saw last night as well, 3 fights, almost 4 really with that check from behind, but the refs were able to break that up before it got too nasty.
Yes, the fuel is being thrown on the fire of this rivalry, the American Hockey League's Battle of Ontario. The 2 preseason games are out of the way, 12 regular season games now, maybe 7 postseason games, which would be a lot of fun, but it's a really intense rivalry, and you can see these two teams don't like each other much, and the rivalry and the bad blood will just continue to get even worse as we get into the regular season series. But hey, guys on both sides are fighting for jobs, and you can see that on the ice. Really high level of competition in these 2 games. A couple of 1-goal hockey games. Really, there was an empty netter last night to make it a 2-goal game. But for all intents and purposes, a couple of 1-goal games. And I think there's going to be a lot of those this season between these two teams.
Now, coming into this game, it actually looked like Hamilton had the advantage. I believe it was 5 guys getting called up to the Leafs, from the Toronto Marlies to the Leafs, but they just couldn't get it done on the ice. What is it you think that Toronto Marlies did that just ended up being better tonight?
Well, they got a couple of goals they probably shouldn't have gotten in the first period. We'll blame Dustin Tokarski for those 2, but I don't expect to be really too disappointed with the way he plays many times this season, so we'll give him a pass in this preseason game. But I thought the Hamilton Bulldogs were as good, if not better, than the Toronto Marlies in the second and third periods. They had a lot of chances. They just didn't finish, and that was a problem last season. I don't think it's going to be a problem this season. Once again, the Dogs didn't dress the majority of what will be their regulars during the regular season tonight, but they did create some scoring opportunities. A guy like Ben Duffy, who's small, but who put up big points last year, 110 to lead the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. He did a great job setting up some plays tonight. There's a lot of skill this year. I don't think it's any comparison to last year, where they lacked skill for most of the season, especially after they lost Blake Jeffrey on an Aaron Palushai. They're not going to lack talent this season. The goals will come. The chances are there. That means the goals will be there sooner or later.
And finally, Derek, of course, over a week of training camp, these guys are getting tired, I'm sure. A weekend away of team building. You think this is exactly what the doctor ordered for these guys?
Absolutely. Right after this game, we're going to hop on the bus about 3 hours to Muskoka for a couple of days of team building. It really is an opportunity for the guys to get to know each other. Most of them have been together for a little while up at Montreal Canadiens rookie camp and training camp, but for some of the guys that are just tryouts for the Hamilton Bulldogs, this will be their first opportunity to get to know the guys. And when you get away from your wives and your girlfriends and your friends and your family, it's an opportunity to spend some time with your teammates or potential teammates, and I think it's an important couple of days for the Hamilton Bulldogs. This is really when the team will come together, and there's going to be some cuts, and the group of guys that's going to go up to Muskoka will be a pretty good preview of what we should see in the Hamilton Bulldogs' final preseason game next Thursday in Dundas, and then leading into the regular season opener October 11th against the St. John's Ice Caps.
All right, Derek, thank you very much, and have a good time this weekend.
I plan to. Thank you.
All right, we have more thoughts coming up.
You know, exhibition games it's all about working the kinks out, getting to know the guys, getting comfortable with them, and the slow starts, that's going to come with it, I guess, but you could see that as the game went on, we got a lot more comfortable and started to play more as a team, and we battled back and got ourselves into the game, and it's too bad we came up short. But as we move forward and get more comfortable with each other, I'm sure that we're going to get stronger starts. Emotion is a big part of the game of hockey, and it has to be. It's a physical sport and stuff, but with teams that you play a lot, there's going to be some bad blood, but you try to keep mutual respect for both sides, and especially when guys are fighting, they generally give each other a tap after the fight, and you settle your differences that way in a fair scenario and in a safe scenario. So it's healthy most of the time, and it's good for the team and good for the players, I guess, involved. We've all played long enough to know that a 2-goal lead, it's not too big of a deal. I mean, it's pretty quick to score 2 goals at certain times. So they just said keep with it. We had a good second to build off of, and we just needed to get that first one and go from there.